Okay, I'm back again. I am going to cut the last loaf of the dry skin soap that was supposed to be Lard Lye soap, but I had a oops moment, and there's a video on that if you want to watch what happened with that. But I made a video of me cutting the first loaf because there were 3 of these, and I was uploading it to YouTube and went ahead and deleted it off my camcorder, and of course it wouldn't finish uploading because I deleted it, and I was just trying to get ahead of myself. I wasn't paying attention. I thought it was through uploading, and it really wasn't. So I'm making the video again on the last loaf. What I do is I let this cool. I set all 3 loaves over here. I covered one with plastic and then covered it with a old towel and just let it sit overnight, and because I made this yesterday, and then now I'm ready to actually cut the loaves. I use the wood molds and I line it with a shelf liner that has a rubber like backing. But what I normally do is I take the end parts and I overlap them where I'll have something to grab, and I didn't do that. I keep forgetting when I cut them to leave me some space to grab it. So what I have to do is lean the mold up, and it's not a big deal. Oops. And I just lift the whole thing out like this. This loaf is almost 24 inches. I think it's more like 23. I think it's 24 inches from wood, outside the wood to the outside of the wood. So that's going to probably leave it 23, maybe even 22 and a half inches long. What I do is just kind of smooth over. The soap is still a little soft, so you have to be careful with it. I just pull these off. They're ready to go back in my mold. I have one in the sink. I'm not sure how that one got in the sink. I must have 2 stuck together. Anyway, put this one in the other side of the mold. I was washing them every time, but now I'm not, because if there's not a bunch of stuff on them, you don't really need to wash them every time. Just take the corners and peel it back. Now I will say that because I had an oops moment with this soap, I let it get too, and really that was my fault, that I let it get too cooled. It cooled off too much, and so it made it harder, and so it didn't go in the mold as nicely as my soaps normally do. And I'm finding that when I'm trying to do videos and download that stuff, it just makes it a little more hectic, and I'm having those oops things where I normally don't have because I'm concentrating on just making soap. And what I do is I trim up any edges that look really, really rugged. And this one has some holes in it. If I have little holes, I just stick the soap, because the soap's still really soft. But this is a little trick. You can just use the edge of the ruler and just peel it off just like that. This one, and I bumped this. I thought I bumped each one of these molds, but like I said, the soap was just a little thicker than I normally pour it. So therefore, I have more holes than I normally have. I don't usually have this many holes, but I just take the soap, and this is a rustic soap, so it's not like this is like a real pretty soap that you're going to worry about how it looks. Even though I want it to look nice, I don't worry about it as much. This soap that my customers use it more for the skin benefits, not for how cute of a bar of soap it is or how great it smells. Even though now this smells good because it has essential oils, but they're not going for those popular smells like Fruit Loop or bubble gum. You know, they want the essential oils. So this soap is scented with lemongrass, peppermint, tea tree, and lavender for skin benefits, and it makes a really, really great bar of soap. Smells really, really nice too, but it's great benefits for your skin. So I think that's about all I'm going to do. Like I said, I just take whatever needs peeling off and I use it. I don't worry about it too much, but if I'm going to trim it off, I'll just stick it in a little hole. And I normally, like I said, don't have this many, but I let this soap get too cool, and we know that with HP, you cannot let HP get what's so cool when you're trying to put it in the molds. You need it to be where you won't have to glop it in. You want it more workable. Okay. Take that over. Poke some of this in this hole here. And the hole there. Alright, so now I'm done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I use my scale to weigh it, just so I can kind of keep me on track as to, are my bars too big? Are they just right? Are they too small? I would rather them be too big than too small, because then if they're too small, I don't sell them. Then there's just soap that we use, and believe me, we have a bunch of soap we don't need anymore. So, but what I do, and I've already miscut that one, so that'll be one of ours. That's a 5 ounce bar, but I don't know if it's the way the mold was leaning or if the way I just cut it, but that one will be for us. I just eyeball it and try to push it straight down. Now I'm usually on my table, but I have soap cooking on the table. That's a 6.4. To show you real quickly, I have 3 crocks there and the mold's ready, and then I have my embroidery machine, which is not going to stay there, but for the time being I'm having to make do because my table is on order, and I'm hoping to get the table in Monday. I'm hoping. So I've already ordered it, paid for it, 6.2. That's great. And I'm just waiting for it to come in. Now I also have ordered, well, I should say my husband has ordered me a Bud Hefner cutter for my soap, 6.0, perfect. And what that's going to allow me to do is take my loaf and cut half of it at one time and then the other half at one time. So with two swipes down, I should have this whole loaf cut, and they'll be exactly perfect. So I'm excited about that. He's buying that for me for Christmas. I'm hoping it's going to be in time for Christmas, but if it's not, that's okay with me. 6.3. I was a little late telling him that I wanted it, and I didn't realize that it would take several weeks for him to get it. Make it. I guess I was just assuming that he already has them made up ahead of time, but he probably is really, really busy. 6.3. But anyway, I'm excited to get that. I got the metal one that allows me to cut bigger loaves of soap, because this is usually the only size, 6.2. The only size of loaves that I do. My husband and I made the molds, and I have 6 of them, and I don't usually use any other molds. Occasionally I will try something else, but not usually, because usually I'm just sticking to what I normally do. But can't wait to get the cutter in, and I think his last name is Hefner, Bud Hefner, but he's on Facebook, Etsy. 6.7. See, it's a little bit bigger than what I wanted it. It's getting harder to eyeball. I used to kind of just do it and they just turned out perfect, almost. But now I'm finding that it's getting harder and harder for me to get the right size. 6.2. Now, see, that's perfect. I want them around 6 ounces, because I like for my bars to be 5 ounces when I sell them, at least 5 ounces. 6.5, which is, see, a little bit too big. And if you're not careful, when you push down, you push that way or that way, and it makes the bar lopsided. Oh, that's a 7. And what I usually try to do is, if I have a customer ordering like 4 or 5 bars, I'll throw in a bigger bar with a smaller bar, oops, so that it evens itself out. So that's a 5.3. And I hold this side because if I don't, it will slide on me, and the bottom will end up being smaller than the top. 6.3. So I start it, hold the other side, and then try to push straight down. And that's going to be too big, I think. 6.2, no, that's a good size. And I measure each one. Don't ask me why. I just want to make sure I'm on track. Because if I start getting too big, I'll back off a little. And I can usually tell if I've gone too small. But if I'm getting a little on the heavy side, then I'll know to back up from what I'm thinking. 6.0, perfect. Okay. 5.8, that's actually perfect because that one will end up being a little bit over 5. And that's 6.3, which I didn't think that was going to be big enough. So that's perfect. So I've got 3, 6, 9, 10, 13, 16, 19 bars, which is exactly the same amount that I got from the other batch. And what I do is I just take this over. I'll take you with me. Oops, let me get kind of where you can see. And what I do is I just sit them all, and I space them apart just enough that they can get some air in between, and they will sit here for probably a week, maybe not quite a week, it just depends. I'll keep checking them, and when they're nice and hard, when I give it a squeeze, I just kind of, oh, and I forgot that I haven't showed you any soap, but this is what the bars look like. And I just give it a little small squeeze, and if it doesn't give, then I know that it's ready. And I will go ahead and the little white chunks, just where the soap is dried out, doesn't affect the soap at all. Works great. This is a great bar for dry skin. I actually recommend this for customers with eczema. I can't tell you that it cures your eczema, but it can give you some relief. So I'm finished up there. So what I'll do is stick a couple bars on the side over here of the shelf where the little hole is. Put a couple on this side. There you have it. And I've ended up with, it's supposed to be 9 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 54, and then 55, 56, 57, 58. So I've ended up with 58 bars of soap. So yeah, so 54 and 4 is 8. So 58 bars of soap is what I've ended up with. And I'll just let them sit there and dry until they're ready. And then when they're ready, I will bag them up, and I bag them this way. And I'll bag them up, label them, bag them up, tape the ends, and these will go into a container whenever my containers get low, ready to go to the stores. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next time. Make sure to give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment, please, on the videos. I appreciate that. And make sure you watch the ads. It really helps me out when you watch the ads. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.